Let's talk about Big Fish, shall we?
Oh, do we want to give the intro? And
Yeah.
What?
new
Oh
intro.
yeah, do the intro.
let's do
I
the
like the
intro.
intro.
It's a nice new intro. Eric,
I
did
like it.
that.
I think it's fun. I was
Yeah,
humming it. Oh no, William's leaving.
He knew I was going
I
to
think
play
he's
it.
got a pee. That's old man. I got a pee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Movies with Mark.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's nice.
Seems like we
Very
should be
professional.
important now. And how did you get all those? Looks like what does it look like? CD cases, I guess, could come out, march out there, and line up and turn. They look like
That's
rockets.
Yeah.
that's Eric. Miller, our marketing friend.
Yep.
He did that for us.
Who did? Oh yeah. Oh, you have a guy that did that for you.
We got
Yeah.
a guy, Eric.
Who designed it? Yeah, you got a guy. Everybody's
he
got a guy.
did.
My son's got
Eric
his
did
boat.
it all.
Yeah. Cool.
He just was like, "Here you go. What do you guys think of this?" And we were like, it's
Well,
pretty cool."
let's talk about an important movie
Yes.
like Big Fish, an important director like Tim Burton. Why is Tim Burton an important director? That's a real question.
Why is he important?
I'll take a shot at it.
Okay.
You can take 10 seconds out of any Tim Burton movie and show it to someone, and you'll know it's a Tim Burton movie.
I believe that is true. And that includes, he's made a lot of animated movies, has he not?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of live action movies.
Mhm.
Big Fish is a live action movie.
And if Helena Bonham Carter is in the clip, there's not a chance that you wouldn't guess that it's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Wait, say that
She's in a
again.
lot of
What?
his movies.
if Helena Bonham Carter is in it,
Well,
it's
as soon
sure
as she's in
tip-off.
it, you know it's that it's a movie of his. What
Mhm.
did you say, William?
No, I was just going to say, she seems to be in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
they were married, weren't they?
They're married,
think
or
so,
were.
yeah.
Are they no longer?
I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
It gets the gossip out of the way. Yes, yeah, and she's delightful. She's wonderful in this, and I always have liked her ever since. What was the first time I ever saw Helena Bonham Carter? A Room with a View, a Merchant Ivory picture. Have you ever seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
I have not.
You should
No.
watch it. It's like a trip to Rome. A trip
Ooh.
to Rome or Tuscany, Florence, maybe Firenze.
I heard there are no places to rent in all of Tuscany.
Nothing there. Sorry, if you're
Nothing.
thinking
You
of it.
got
Nothing
lucky.
at all. Nothing. It's all locked up. It's in the family.
But while we're talking about Helena Bonham Carter, what
Yeah.
about Jessica Lange? I mean,
Oof.
for me, I've loved her my whole life. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
She's great. I rode on a plane in first class with her once. She was over there and across the aisle, and she was stunning. She had, I think, a child with her. Her child, I think she has a child with Sam Shepard, and I couldn't take my eyes off her hands. She just has these wonderful, strong, like a sculptor's hands, and just really, they weren't pretty and not nails done. They weren't like feminine hands. They were just really good, strong, so much care. Like I love Rodin because Rodin does all those great sculptures of hands. And they were like Rodin would have sculpted her hands. But
Yeah, she's like, eyes over here, Mark. Stop looking at my hand.
No, but her face, just beautiful. Just well, and a great actress too. I mean,
a wonderful actress, and doesn't really have that much to do in this movie.
No,
not really. No,
except be there and be Albert Finney's. I mean, there's no question in your mind why Albert Finney would follow her all the days of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger version.
What?
The younger version of her was
Spot on.
spot on. I mean, it looked like a younger version of her.
Yeah, and who is that actress?
That is Alison Lohman.
Oh, it is Alison. And all the time I was watching it, I was thinking it was Evan Rachel Wood. It's Alison Lohman. Yeah, it looks very much like her. Yeah. You're right. There's I think Tim Burton is important because a lot of people think he's important, and a lot of people think he's important because of his visual style. Like you said, you could take 10 seconds out of any Tim Burton movie and watch it, and you'd know it was a Tim Burton movie. That's certainly, I think, true of the animated ones, like
Corpse Bride or
Nightmare Before
Christmas.
Yeah, I have to admit to not having ever been a big fan of Tim Burton, so I haven't seen all of them, and I haven't really studied them that much. It was fun to watch this because, why was it fun to watch this? Because I got to take it sort of a little more seriously. I didn't just dismiss it. I think I did dismiss it the first time I saw it as just kind of a kid's fantasy. And not like a story that amounted to anything. But watching it carefully, more carefully, I really see that there are, I mean, he does start with an idea, and he works around that idea, and he gives a lot of layers and thought to that idea, and there's a lot going on in this movie. There's not a lot going on at the same time, but there's a lot. Maybe it was because I was high. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I got very moved and caught up in the ideas about it, and in talking about storytelling. Because a big part of the movie, at least the dialogue and the way it talks about it, is the father, played by Albert Finney, and played by Ewan McGregor, who seems to have had a brief moment in his career where he played really, really famous, well-known English actors as young men. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi. After Alec Guinness created Obi-Wan Kenobi, he came along, and now he's Albert Finney, who's just always been one of my favorite English actors. Great ever since Tom Jones, I think, was the first thing that he ever did. But the story, such as it is really about storytelling. The father, Albert Finney, a fantasist, making up stories, but recognizing that no matter how far afield you go when you make up a story, it begins with the truth and ends with the truth in some way, and maybe a twist on the truth. And the son, his son when he's old and dying, played by Billy Crudup. Billy Crudup. Being his son and going the other way, wants everything to be facts and not fiction, and thinks that there is such a thing as the truth, and disagrees with his father and struggles with his father. It's fathers and sons, right? Yes. All the way through, it's fathers and sons.
Absolutely.
And they were both storytellers because his son wrote novels.
He's a journalist, but
writer.
And it's never alluded to, but one suspects that every journalist is really a novelist just biding their time, right? So one suspects that he's a novelist or wants to be a novelist, and maybe by the end of the movie, he's learned something from his father and watching his father die, that's sort of maybe released him from the cold hard facts of journalism and allowed him to understand. Maybe, we don't know, because I'm not sure that Burton really pits the two of them against each other as well as it could be, or as clearly as it could be, or maybe with not as much animosity as I would put in there in terms of a father-son relationship. I mean, it seems relatively calm.
I think there was plenty of animosity there. I think they glossed over a lot of it for the sake of the story, but they do say that they didn't talk. I mean, from the day that he got married to when he got the news that his dad was going to die, they say several times that
for
to his mom.
Several years they didn't talk. 3 years, I think, or 4 years he hadn't talked to his father. But I hear that in the text, but I don't feel it. Well, and this is something I want to go back to about Tim Burton's visual style. He really does have a visual style, but I don't think of it as a cinematic style, in that it doesn't have to do with the camera. The camera just takes pictures. Phenomenal sets. Isn't Edward Scissorhands, his too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
wonderful sets, but he's, in terms of cinematographics, he's taking pictures of wonderful sets of the town of Spectre in this,
Wow.
green grass right down the middle and the perfect houses. They're beautiful sets.
It was beautiful, rotten, and before it rotted, the town.
Yes, exactly. And the forest that you travel through to get to it is every kid's imagination of that wonderful scene where the tree grabs, he's trying to find his way out, away from this paradise that he could stay, and trees, the roots of the trees grab him, the branches come down and get him. I mean, that's in, didn't he make a movie about Sleepy Hollow, the legend of Sleepy Hollow?
Mm-hmm.
But that's like the trees in a Disney movie coming down and will come in and grab you and take you away. But what I miss is what Molly said, he glosses over, that's there. They tell you about that conflict. But when Billy Crudup comes home, I don't feel that tension. I don't feel it in my body the way I think a masterful film will give it to you.
I read it like he was doing that on purpose. Well, for the first, I mean, you've got to think of it in the perspective of he does still really love his dad, and now his dad is dying. And he's got more curiosity than anger. He just wants to know the true stories. He wants to take the time that he has to get true stories out of his dad. And I think it's more resentment than anger as well.
Yeah,
because
I hear that all in the dialogue, and I know what you mean. What I don't know. What?
Nothing.
Wow, Molly, you're talking, but your lips aren't moving.
I'm not talking.
I didn't. What did you say? I missed, or did it? I was hearing something.
She didn't say anything.
Never mind. Well, what did you say? What you just said again, so that I can properly respect it.
He said nothing.
I don't remember what I was saying, so I was.
Wasn't that important?
Okay.
I was basically saying that it was. I don't think that he has anger towards his dad or hostility towards his dad. I think it's just that he wants to believe his dad. He wants to get the truth, though. He says he grew up idolizing him, and now he's just. He can't go and be mad at him.
No, I think he had enough of a lifetime of hearing those stories and how it would dazzle other people hearing them for the first time. But he'd heard it so many versions and so many times and taken attention away from him on his wedding day.
On his wedding day.
To tell the story, to make it about him again.
Right.
And I think he was about fed up with it. I just think he had enough of it, and it's not the truth. The stories change from time to time. And then when he realized he was losing him, he wanted to come back and reconcile and kind of get the story straight. And it did kind of show, he was an exaggerator. He exaggerated things because when you saw the people that were in the story, there was a level of truth to it. But he had taken and exaggerated. What, like that old Alabama telling you, sit down and tell you a story? I grew up in the South. I know people like that. That means a lot to a lot of people to have an old guy to tell you a story. I mean, that is a big deal down there.
Oh, yeah. That's your entertainment. I mean, before there was television, before there was movies, even before there was radio, that was how we entertained each other, tell a story. Everybody's got a grandfather who can tell a great story. My dad could tell a great long story. I get it. What I don't get is and it's maybe just because I come from I'm a different person, and it's my problem with Tim Burton all the time. I don't get a real visceral, emotional content to this. I hear it being told to me, but he doesn't put it on the screen. And I'm getting back to my sense of his visual style. He has beautiful stuff that he takes pictures of, but he's just taking pictures. He doesn't put the camera in particularly interesting places, or in places that tell a story the way a really great film. I've been reading a lot just in the last couple of days about Francis Coppola, and going back over The Godfather, and going back over Apocalypse Now, and going back over The Conversation, and going back over, and not looking at them all because I've seen them enough that they're in my mind, but just thinking about them and about what he does with the camera and with editing, and the way that cinema works. The tools that you have in cinema are the camera, which now can move very easily, and sound, and the soundtrack of this is great. I love the soundtrack. You know, it would be a playlist for somebody. I mean, it really sort of runs a good gamut. But I want more emotion.
Okay.
I just that's all. That's what I miss. I mean, I really like it, and I know Tim Burton fans are big fans, and that's why, because it sounds you guys picked this movie,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you're all consider yourself Tim Burton fans.
Molly is big time.
You are.
I like
Molly
his,
is?
I like his style, and I like Johnny Depp, and he's in lots of Tim Burton movies as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the quirky, like, what was the Sweeney Todd? That movie to me is just
Sweeney Todd's a great Stephen Sondheim musical.
yeah.
Tim Burton, I really had a great time with the movie that he made of it. I'd seen it on Broadway.
That one's filmed all grungy, and it's filmed in almost like grays with like the reds stand out a lot more. And
yeah, well, the
color
blood
in that
spatter
movie.
in that was really,
Yeah.
he took a bath in the blood for that one.
You know, Mark, I don't get how you don't feel the emotion of when he first saw his wife and said, "That's the girl I'm going to marry," and worked for free for this ringmaster.
No, he's talking
I
about
think
the
Mark's
hatred,
saying
I think.
he doesn't see the feeling in the father-son relationship. You can see the feeling in the
That too.
stories.
But even that, what William mentions, I hear it and I see it, and I've seen that scene 1,000 times in movies. The guy who sees the woman that but emotionally, okay, here, that same scene is played out in Citizen Kane. Irving Stone, what's his name? Stone in Citizen Kane, who's one of Hearst's best friends, talks about how, and he's been married and he's had children and a successful career, but he talks about once when he was a young man being on a boat, passing another boat in the river, and seeing a woman wearing all white and with a parasol, and just because it was back in those days when they carried parasols, and falling in love with her in a way that he had never loved anyone, his wife, his children, anything. And still to this day, and he never saw that woman again, but still to this day carries a place in his heart for her that's as profound as anything he's ever felt. That moment, that's just a moment in Citizen Kane, gives me goosebumps, because I know what that moment feels like. I fall in love 6 times a day. No, not anymore. Once a week. But that scene in the movie Big Fish, where he sees, what'd you tell me her name
Carnival?
was? Yeah, at the carnival, where he sees the girl.
Alison Lohman.
Alison
Young
Lohman.
Sandra Bloom.
Right. And falls in love with her. I get it. It happens in here. He tells me about it. I've seen it. I know it. But the way he puts it together doesn't put goosebumps on the back of my neck. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's just me. I get it that it's fine for you.
I enjoyed the time slowing down and time speeding up, and he's moving through the
He's
park. I
moving
guess
everything.
I thought it
That
worked
was
for me.
cool. That was very
that's
cool.
good.
And it was kinda
And
funny.
that's a twist on the moment. And when he walks through and has to go through the hoop that's in front for the dog to jump through, and the popcorn is in the air, and he pushes it out of the way and then just walks through it. Yeah, no, that's a wonderful moment. And there he's using the cinema in a way, but not necessarily to create an emotion, but it's to create a sensation.
How long did he work for that man for free
3
just
years.
finding out one little thing about her. It's like you
once a
didn't,
month.
yeah, once a month, and you didn't connect with that. I mean, it's kind of foolish because it's like I would have never done that. I would have found out quicker somehow, which he did. At some point, he got fed up. But like just accepting that like one thing a month, but like that's love, man. The way they connected with one another, and when she got in the tub with him, and
I
it
know
was
that's
like,
great when she gets in the tub, and
right?
I want to ask her, I want to ask them whether she just said, I want to do this. I want to get in the tub with him. He's in there with his fully clothed or in his pajamas,
Yeah,
and I don't know if that was Burton or her, but that's a wonderful, and it's
yeah,
a
it's
very
a great
Jessica Lange
scene.
thing.
Yes, yes, it was
Yeah.
wonderful. I mean,
No,
I loved those two together. I really did.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
they're great, and it turns the light on, and I can understand doing it because I think Finney is great in it too. I mean, Finney's just,
Mhm.
and he's also had this huge, long, wonderful career as an actor, uh, and Lang totally respects actors and loves actors and loves art, loves creative people, and I can. Yeah, I know. I get it story wise. I know what you're saying, and she brings it to me. He brings it to me. The two of them together, they bring it to me. They bring it inside to me. I hear what you're saying, and I know what you're saying, and yeah, that story moves me.
Yeah.
But you telling me the story moves me in that way. Burton, I want Burton to move me more. I mean,
Okay.
to move me even the way you tell the story. Your excitement at telling the story, your feeling when you put your hands together the way you did that like that, and your voice gets a little animated, and you get so frustrated with me because I'm so stupid and unfeeling. that see, that brings it across out of the screen, off the screen, and into my heart, into my
Well,
soul.
this is the thing, Mark. It's just would never think that you're stupid. I would never say that. I just think you get wrapped up in the technical aspect of the movie making than too much to enjoy the beauty of the story.
Well,
It just to me, it
yeah,
touched me
you could be right. I mean, because I
so
tried
much.
to
And
enter it not skeptically. I tried to enter it as though I'd never seen it before, and I think by the end I was successful. And that again may have been
But
because
you
I
know
was
what?
high.
It-
What?
In Mark's defense, Will, the three of us will never be able to watch a movie the way Mark does because he's been in movies,
right,
you know?
absolutely.
So
You-
we'll
well,
never be
you-
able to understand it the way he
We're
does.
novices, and he's an
Yeah.
actor.
But
Right, I get
but
that.
but your experience is more important than mine in a lot of ways.
We're the general admission
Just
tickets.
you're the schlubs that pay the ticket price. I
Yeah.
don't have to pay. I mean, I
Yeah,
do.
he's in.
Ooh.
But I
They
mean,
haven't
gone
paid
are
for
the
me.
days where I could call up the head of MGM and say, "Send me over a copy of Big Fish, would you? I want to watch it tonight in my 75-seat
Movie theater.
screening room back by the pool." Uh, yeah, that's all gone now. I wasted that. But no, I do see, and I do break them down. I do watch them more piece by piece, but I also do know enough to surrender myself to the movie if it invites me to come in. And Burton, he's very accessible. The stories are great. The stories are they're told as though to a child by a child, but a child there you want to watch your back. I mean, he's a twisted child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really like and I appreciate. I mean, I never turn my back on any kid because you never know what they might be doing behind your back. But I do. I know I break it down and see it that way, but it helps me because it's my job, it's my business. It helps me understand it, and it helps me evaluate the director. And all I'm saying about this is there's wonderful story there. There's wonderful performances there, although I'm not sure Ewan McGregor brings me much more than a really big, goofy smile.
Yeah.
I like you, and I like Ewan McGregor. I really want to like him. I like him, and every time I see him, but I don't fall in love with him. I don't want to follow him home from the bar, and look in his window to see what he's doing.
I tell you what, he did a great job. I don't know if you saw, I think it was season 4 of Fargo. That's the FX series where he
Right.
played 2 different characters. And while we're on the subject, Jessica Lange, one season of American Horror Story where she was with the Freaks and she was in charge of that. Another great season where she had a German accent and she had one leg. I don't know if you saw that particular season either, but they were both, I thought, she was in American Horror Story. He was in Fargo. I thought they were great in those series as well.
Yeah, I have to go back and look. I watched the first season and the second season of Fargo, and then I don't know why I was moving or something, and I didn't watch anymore. But I want to watch. Is it what's the one that the season that David Thewlis is in?
David Thewlis, is that the British guy?
He's a British guy.
Yeah, I think that's the one with Ewan McGregor. I think it's season 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, I want to watch that because there's an actress in it, Carrie Coons, who plays the female cop figure in it.
Okay.
I guess the Frances McDormand character, although I don't know how they go from season to season and that thing. But she's married to Tracy Letts and is a very interesting actress, and I want to watch that. But you're right, I didn't watch that, and I never watched American Horror Story because I never have gotten on the Ryan, what's his name, Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy, yeah.
I've never been on the Ryan Murphy bandwagon.
Jessica Lange, and there were freaks in this particular season. So there's a girl this big, and I mean, it's just a great. I don't know, did you watch American Horror Story?
No.
Never seen it. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get it. I missed it, and I should have seen it.
2050.
I do sometimes don't do things.
Well, I'm going to bring in the
perverse
DVD.
reasons.
I have some of the seasons. I'll bring them in and share them with you guys.
Let's take a little bit of a U-turn and go back to Tim Burton for a minute.
There we go.
I don't really have that much more to say about it. I do want to watch Sweeney Todd again. Is there another Tim Burton movie you would recommend to me, who's not a fan? I mean, Edward Scissorhands. I love Diana Weiss. And I love her
me
till the
too.
day I die.
Yep.
And she's great in Edward Scissorhands.
Also great in I Care a Lot. That another movie that we reviewed.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and in a lot of she's been in Woody Allen movies. I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah, and she's in Hannah and Her Sisters. She's beautiful in Hannah and Her Sisters, and she's great in the Jeremy Renner TV series that was just on, The Mayor of Kingstown. She plays the mom there, and she's a lecturer, a teacher in the prisons, and she gives these great lectures that they just photograph and they just film the whole lecture, and she's just great.
You like
Anyway,
Ed Wood, correct?
Edward Scissorhands, I don't think and Beetlejuice. He's made a lot of movies though.
Ed Wood, did you like that one?
It's Johnny Depp again, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. I feel about Ed Wood that his tongue is a little too firmly in his cheek on that one. I've never been, and there are lots of people, and they're fine that they do it. There are lots of people who sort of really love mediocrity and even love failure. And I think if you like Ed Wood, then you're about liking failure.
Okay.
I think because he wasn't a good filmmaker, was he?
No,
Ed Wood, not for Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I think Tim Burton's good. I mean, but
watching the movie, he wasn't very good. And he was a cross-dresser.
If you watch any of his movies, he wasn't very good. But he was a guy, he was a self-promoter. He was in America, we love self-promoters in America. Worship them. Madonna, Lady Gaga. I mean, Lady Gaga's got a voice. Madonna had a sense of showmanship. We love showmen. We love self-promoters. And Dee Snider, who I worked with, great self-promoter. It's not a thing that I'm very good at, and I have to admit that I don't necessarily have a whole lot of respect for people whose primary job is promoting themselves, no matter what they do. But I get it. I mean, I get it in this culture that we like it. We like it.
I'm looking at Tim Burton movies, and I didn't know he did Men in Black 3. I didn't know he did Pee-wee's
Oh.
Big Adventure. I didn't.
Oh, that's one of lots of people's favorite movies of all time, isn't it?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I guess he did
seems
Mars
like it.
Attacks. Yeah.
Mars Attacks. Yep. He did a lot. He's done
Oh, he
a
did
lot.
Mars Attacks too.
I don't know.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
There you go.
That's-
There you go.
That's all you need.
Did he do
How
that?
can you not like
He
him,
did
Mark?
Batman. 3 Batman movies.
He did one of the Batman movies, right?
He did
one of
3
the
of
old,
them.
3.
3 of
2
them.
and 3. Yeah.
Did he do the Dick Tracy movie with Warren Beatty? No.
No. That seems like that could
And
be a Tim
Beetlejuice is the one that really sort of kicked him into our
in our realm. Yeah.
purview,
In our
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
cemented his style.
Well, and The Nightmare Before Christmas has
Nightmare
a whole
Before Christmas,
generation
yeah.
of kids.
Is that an animated one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a hot
It's really
topic
good, though.
store is basically
It's-
because of that exists.
Yeah, I should watch it. I
because of
should
that.
show it to my son at Christmas time. We keep watching the same Christmas movies over and over and over again.
Like Trapped in Paradise?
Yeah, we've been trying.
Yeah, we just never got around to that one this year.
No. Wait,
Oh. But that's the other thing. All of these movies, and even the one like Mars Attack, even the one that he goes to a cartoon. He goes to a cartoonishness that it doesn't turn me. Yeah, no, all right, it does. It turns me off a little bit.
Okay.
I
like that a little bit.
Yeah,
I do too.
It's just a flavor
a
of
lot
ice
of
cream
people do.
that you either like it or you don't. I think.
Yeah, that's true.
my son goes to every Pixar movie that comes out. He goes to non-Pixar. He watches what's it? Not Mork and Mindy, Rick and Morty.
Rick
Morty.
and Morty's great.
Yeah, he loves Rick and Morty. I've watched it, and I like the dialogue. It's hard for me to watch animated people.
Okay.
Animated characters. I don't know why. I have a block against it, and it's hard for me it was hard for me to watch this movie because I think Ewan McGregor is playing an animated character.
He is. He's a larger than life, good
He's
at
a larger than-
everything.
Yeah, but so is Albert Finney. But Albert Finney, I buy him 100%.
You're very firmly rooted in reality. It seems.
Yeah.
like.
Very firmly rooted in reality. But
Yeah, you gotta-
and Ewan McGregor, I'm not sure in this movie. I'm not sure that he is really rooted as an actor, rooted in the reality of the character and elevating it at the same time. And it's possible to do it. Jessica Lange is doing it, and but it's rooted in her. Her feet are always on the ground. Now Albert Finney is sick most of the time, so he's lying still, so he can't get too crazy. And he gets a little crazy with his hands sometimes, but I love Albert Finney. Anyway, that's my those
Okay.
are my feelings about this movie, my thoughts about this movie.
All right.
Big Fish. But I'm grateful that I watched it because, as I said near the end, I was very moved by the ideas and the thoughts and the feelings about storytelling, about the value of storytelling, and about how we misunderstand storytelling.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the most important scene in the movie, in my opinion.
All right.
And the most important scene is when the doctor is talking to the son, and the doctor says, "Hey, you want to know the real story about your birth?" And then he tells them, like, "Yeah, your dad was away on business. He was sad he couldn't be there. He really wanted to be there, but you were born a week early, and no problems, nothing. Now, don't you wish the other story was true?" And I think his dad had to take that salesman job because he was good at it. He was a good people person,
Mhm.
but he didn't get to be there. And his son held that against him. And his dad exaggerated these stories in like a coping mechanism. Like, well, if I can't be there, I'm
Maybe.
going to make it an amazing story because that's how I want it to be. And that's the way I kind of looked at it. Like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't get to be there, but we got a house, we got this. I have to work. I wanted to be there. It's not my fault you came a week early. I was scheduled to be there. But you know what? I'm going to come up with this awesome story about catching an uncatchable fish with a ring, the day you were born, and I'm going
Well, I
to tell
think
it on
that-
your wedding day, and it's going to be all about what a wonderful day it was for everyone the day you were born. And his son took it the wrong way.
Took
Like-
it the wrong
Yeah.
way.
His
And
son
that
took
was the
almost
learning
everything
thing.
Because he
wrong.
just
I mean, to
wanted the
resent
truth.
your father for not being at your birth because he was working or whatever
Yeah.
is taking it the wrong way.
Well, I also think that seeing through his wife, that wonderful French actress,
Maria Cotillard, I believe.
yeah, Cotillard or whatever.
Yeah,
She,
Marion
What?
Cotillard.
Marion Cotillard. Oh yeah, who's
Cotillard, yeah.
brilliant. I
but
didn't know. I
she
forgot she was in it. She's
appreciated
stunning.
the old man's stories, and she just really took them in the spirit to which he gave them. And I think the husband kind of saw the value because she really loved that man and he loved his stories. And then he kind of turned, and when he was telling him the story about bringing him out to the water, and that was his version of what it was going to happen as that man was on his deathbed. And it's like he finally got it, like how
Yeah.
important it was for him to understand that man
But he got it through his wife, through the woman.
through his wife, right?
Right. Because
She was
had-
wonderful. I
oh,
love
she's,
her.
She's great.
How do you
should-
pronounce her name?
Marion-
Marion Cotillard.
Cotillard.
If you want
Beautiful.
to see her at the height of everybody's powers as an actress, watch La Vie en Rose.
I have that
Okay.
movie. I
Yeah.
have it. I'll loan it to you guys. She's
All right.
great.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing, and it's Edith Piaf. It's great music, incredible performance, and a great life Edith Piaf had. The Sparrow, the Little Sparrow.
Yeah.
The hawk has died. Yeah. Yeah.
All
That's
right,
Carol
let's
Lombard.
go around and let's give it the.
But I want to go back to
Go ahead.
that moment that Tom mentioned, because I think it's a fascinating moment, and it's a moment that I've stopped and went back because I wanted to hear it more clearly. Because that's one of the places where Burton, or whoever wrote the script, but Burton sort of juxtaposes the values of and talks about or gets us to think about the value of storytelling. Because you're right, his father made a great, wonderful, fanciful, crowd-pleasing circus of a story of it, an Avengers movie of a story out of it. And the boy, the son, when he hears the real story, says that he's more interested in the real story. That's like being more interested in early Mark Ruffalo movie.
Yeah.
With what's that Mark Ruffalo movie? We kept everything from the fire or something like that. But there's like two schools of filmmaking, or two avenues of filmmaking: the big blockbuster tentpole umbrella movie that the studios make that hold them up, and then there's a little low budget independent movie. And the two men, the father is up here with the tentpole, the Avengers movie, and the son is down here with the low budget independent movie that's got actors talking to each other and stuff like that. And and you don't have to choose between. I like Avengers movie. I even went to see Uncharted.
Whoa.
I don't know what I was thinking.
You were high.
I was high. I was something was wrong. I went to the wrong place. No, my son wanted me to go, so I went. He played the game. But so yeah, I think that's a fascinating scene, and it's a different tone than many of the scenes, and I appreciate that he can modulate tones and go from one place to another.
I was
Mike?
thinking of that scene as almost like a line in the sand. Like, okay, the audience now choose which one you like better. Kind of,
Yeah,
like set that out.
yeah,
And it almost put us on the father's side.
Yeah, he does that very much. I think he asks you to do that, and he also at the same time proves that he can do both. He can make Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice a big, flamboyant, great story movie, but he can also tell the story of the people. I mean, the people story. Can also listen to it. Shall we go around and rank it?
Sure.
Tom, since you brought
I
it up.
liked it. I
You
It's-
inflicted this movie upon us.
Yes, I did. It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I love the storytelling, the character arch of the son. I do agree could have been better, but it was already a 2 hour and 15-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like, how do you extend it to add a better, or was that, did he give you enough to just say, okay, I get it, they're mad, and let's tell the other story? Maybe take a little bit of the fantasy. I don't know how he could have told it different in the same time frame. Or
The only thing I think I could do is, I really like Billy Crudup as an actor,
Mhm.
but I don't think he does angst very well. He doesn't do anxiety. He doesn't do the kind of things that you need to do when you're going back to see your father on his deathbed after you have not talked to him for 3 years, because he completely shuts you out with his bombast and his storytelling. And everybody loves my dad, and
It
they don't
almost
even
seemed
know
like
this name.
a
What?
bratty, jealous kid, like becoming an adult. Like, hey, you're gonna have a kid. Here are some stories. Maybe this is a tool you can use with your own kids. And you see,
Yeah.
he does that at the end. Tells the stories.
He does it. Yeah, he does it at the end, and when he carries his father out, like he's carrying his child out, he closes the circle. The story closes the circle for us. I don't think Crudup does as good a job as he could have possibly. I would like to have directed it in and see if I could
Do it.
get that out of him, because that's what's missing for me. is
Okay.
the-
I'm still giving it a 5. It's
yeah,
just,
no, you can give it a 5. You can
and,
give it whatever you
I
want.
mean, I had stuff in my eyes and a snotty nose for some reason at the end of this movie too, but
Yeah, just a little dust in your eyes. I'm sure.
yeah,
that's what it
there's
was.
some draft allergies in the dead of ice storms.
So Molly, once again, we've successfully shut you out through much of this. So what your turn?
I really enjoyed this movie. I know
Are
I
you
had
crying now?
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You touched your eyes the way Tom did when he talked about having dust in his eyes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I won't
I-
interrupt you again, I promise.
I'll take
know-
that.
Well,
back.
maybe I will. No, sorry, go ahead. My timing was pretty good on that, huh?
Yeah, that was on.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, Molly, you're disappearing.
That's yeah.
She looks
Go
like
ahead.
a Tim Burton character.
That's right, she is. She's vibrating. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I know I had seen this movie before, and I hadn't been particularly a fan of it because it was confusing. It went back and forth so much in time, and with, just I wasn't as big a fan of it. But I remember at the end of it thinking, I bet if I watched that again, I would catch a lot. I would really enjoy this movie because there's a lot to it. This time around, I really enjoyed it and almost think it needs another watch through. But there's so much that they leave like up to the imagination. There's so many other questions that you have at the end. It does evoke a lot of emotions, even if the actors or whatever could have done it better. It really does evoke a lot of that and a lot of just your own imagination and thinking like, man, how much of this was true, and what would this have looked like without all of the, and then the same part that Tom brought up with the doctor, who I seemed like was a family friend, or it was a small town doctor, he'd known them,
Yeah.
and they had just told the story, his birth and everything, and he was like, well, what would you prefer? And I think that was a huge turning point, because I think that the son instantly said, I would prefer the truth. But it seemed like in the following, what came after, it caused him to think. It did cause him to reevaluate the way that he was looking at everything. And I think that was kind of the last piece to like get him to just kind of, all right, this is just, and play along and give his dad his peaceful ending. And I mean, at the end, yeah, I was crying, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Tom hides it well, except the movie ended and he got up and blew his nose right away, and I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, what do you expect?
So what do
I
you
really enjoyed it.
did it
I think
bump
I'd
all
give
the
it a
way
four.
up to a 5 for you?
I think I'd give it a 4.5. I love the imagery in the movie. I love the kind of quirky way they do it.
Right.
I think it's good,
Okay.
and I like Tim Burton. I like the quirky stuff.
Yeah, I usually think of myself as liking quirky. I'm just not quite sure that I always like Tim Burton's quirky because it almost seems forced sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm tricky about it. And like I say, I have a hard time with animation. Not that this is animated, but there's something. I mean, this is made by a director who makes animated movies too. And it's not that I run screaming from the theater if a cartoon comes on, but
Well, the
I would get up
stories
and-
are cartoonish without just being drawn and colored. You know, the
They're
storytelling
larger than
was
life.
a
Well,
cartoon.
there are exaggerations.
Yeah.
The other
Right.
thing I love with this movie is the way they weave the fish in there, where they
Yeah.
several times discuss, talking about, catching the big fish, but then there's an actual fish, whether there really is or not, or if that was just his sense of humor. But they show, an actual fish, and he turns into a fish at the end. It's a theme, obviously with the title of the movie, but I thought it was cute the way that they.
I think the
They
title of the
promote that.
movie hits fishermen, like everybody's,
Right.
hey, it was 16 inches. By the time you get home, it'll be 24 inches, and next week you'll be telling you caught a 50-inch fish. The story of telling the fish you caught. It always seems to get bigger the more you tell the story.
Yeah.
Is there
So I think-
anything about being a big fish in a little pond in the title? I mean, is he
That could be
tossing
too,
it
yeah.
back to that?
Well, it
Well, that was
actually
in the
a
movie.
river.
Yeah.
It was a fish
They-
in a river.
They talk about him. He grew so fast at the beginning, and they thought, well, maybe it's just because I'm a
Big fish.
outgrowing that place, or I'm a big
Yeah,
fish
what
in a
kind of
little pond, or I
contraption
don't know.
was he in the hospital? It's
A
moving
made-up one?
around and everything, right? It looked.
Wait,
it was,
I'm missing what is William saying? Are you talking politics again? What did
No,
you
the
say?
contraption they put the kid in when he grew.
When he was
was
like,
growing.
Oh, I know.
he went through
Um,
puberty in bed for 3 years because he just grew so fast.
Yeah, I knew a kid when I was growing up who had to spend a year in bed. It's just a year, not 3 years, because of his spine was not growing right in a contraption like that.
Wow.
I think it changes you. I think it affects you. It's a big deal.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. What was the point of that? Wait a minute. I'm lost now. William said something and I didn't hear it, but that's what William was saying. Was talking
Yeah,
about
the
contraption?
machine, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but big fish in a little pond is that saying that they say I'd rather be a big fish in a little pond than I don't know what else the alternative is, than go to New York and fail.
Then a
Yeah.
small
And-
fish in a big sea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah, I think there's some corollary to a big fish in a little pond. But I just wondered sometimes. I kept going back to the big fish. It's a great title because it is certainly, it's kind of enigmatic in a way. And it's about, there is this big fish, but is the big fish a real fish, or is it just the fish that Albert Finney's character, the father, created by telling the story over and over and over and over and over and over again? But is it the big fish? It's a real big fish. It's really a big fish. Who knows? It's a story. It's the story, like Tom said, it's the fisherman who catches a 12-inch fish, but by the time he gets home, I had to let it go. It was too big. It was too beautiful. It was 24 inches long.
Yeah.
So I'll give it. Did you give it a number, Molly? Molly?
4.5. She gave
4.5.
4.5. That's right. So I'm giving it a 3.5 just because. I'll give it a 4. No, I'll give it a 3.5.
Why
I
don't
want to
you like
watch it
Tim
again too
Burton?
because there's a lot in it.
There is
just-
a lot.
Tim
There's
Burton.
a lot going on. and I just think that if it were successful, as it sets out to be, every movie made sets out to be successful, not in terms of making dollars, but in terms of communicating.
Mm.
I don't think I'd necessarily need to watch it again. I don't
Okay.
need to watch The Best Years of Our Lives again. I've seen it about 6 times, but I want to watch it sometime. I want. There's a time when I want to pull it out and stick it in and just watch it because
love-
I need that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna. I'm sorry. I was just saying I love movies like that that make you want to watch them again and again. And every time you watch them, you see something new, or you uncover,
Yeah.
a new
Yeah,
meaning
I
to
do
it.
too.
And
I want to see. I want to watch it again now just to see, because I know there's a lot there, but I want to see why it doesn't get across the footlights to me the first time
yeah,
completely.
Okay.
Or why I witness it, I hear them telling me the story, but I don't feel it.
I
Okay.
think you have something against Tim Burton. And you said the first time you watched it, you had an attitude about it. You were more open minded this time. I think the third time you're going to like it better.
Maybe I
I
will,
do.
and maybe I'll become a Tim Burton fan.
Yeah.
Well,
I
We
do
can-
want to go. I do want to go watch Sweeney Todd.
Yeah,
again, 'cause
I
love that.
really love that movie. Tom, did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I saw that movie.
they're
Okay.
singing now.
Tom doesn't like musicals. It was
Yeah,
probably
me
too much
neither.
music.
Remember we saw it and I said, what? Did everybody from Harry Potter get time off and decide to make
Oh,
Sweeney
yeah,
Todd
that's
right
right.
now?
I own that movie. I love it so much.
You
Sweeney
should've seen
Todd,
her.
really?
She
Yeah,
made a cool pumpkin with the Sweeney Todd
I did.
hair and the.
It's a great story. And great
All right.
and great songs, great music. Even if you don't like musicals, it's hard to sort of walk away from a Sondheim
Yeah.
They're
musical.
talking about baking people into pies. It's great.
That's right. Okay, William, what do you get your turn at the at
Okay.
bat?
I saw it a long time ago,
Yeah.
long enough to have forgotten how it made me feel when I watched it. And yes, I did get emotional. I
Mhm.
did. And it's going to be one of mine that I will watch, maybe not on a yearly basis, but it's one of my top ones because I felt the movie. I felt it. And I think if it would have, with that Alabama, that little Southern drawl, the way you tell them stories, if it would have been with another accent, it might not have hit as hard. It's just that good old down home kind of thing. I mean, I thought Albert Finney, I loved him in that. I love that couple together, and the son, for whatever reason, he resented him. I think near the end, he understood him and appreciated him for who he was. And I think the wife always appreciated him for who he was. And I give it a 5.
Well, you
I
said
think
it
it
hit
hit-
something.
Well, Molly, you know my dad and his storytelling ability. That's probably why it hit so
Yeah.
close for me too.
It hits
all
personal
about-
with both of you. You guys, it hit closer to home. It hit personally, and you related to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I and it does, I think, for fathers and sons. It did for me. I saw myself both as the father and as the son, and realized that my son thinks I'm bombastic sometimes, and I always disagree with him, but maybe he's right.
I think it's beautiful too at the end, that very last scene where they show him telling the stories about his dad to his son, and
Yeah.
I just think it was beautiful. I don't know.
And then he
No,
becomes
there's some lovely stuff in it, really lovely stuff in it, and I'll watch it again and see if I get caught up in it. I just my only caveat, my only question is that it didn't catch me up and sweep me along, and a great movie will catch me up. Grand Illusion, Rules
Yeah.
of the Game, the 3-hour-long Les Enfants de Paradis. They're movies that grab me up, and I want
You know
every
what?
movie to be a great movie.
I got a great analogy for this.
Okay.
It's like a net that sweeps you up. It caught me and Will, but you were a little smaller and could swim through, and it didn't quite catch you the way it caught me and Will and swept us up.
Because I was
We're
because I
bigger
was smaller.
fish. We're bigger fish.
Uh-huh.
I love how
That's a
good.
really good
We
analogy,
need to
Tom.
You guys are all the big fish, and I'm the little minnow.
I think if you go by weight, yes.
Yes, by weight, of course.
Oh, definitely by weight.
By
If you're
weight,
going by that
size.
measure, I wouldn't have liked
Yeah,
it
we'd
either.
throw you back, Mark. You keep us.
Great. I get thrown back. I get to swim again. I get to live another season.
We're
Thank
going on the
you.
wall.
All right. Enough of this frivolity. So what are we going to do next?
Well, what I wanted to suggest, I just want to tell you, I told them a joke that they didn't get in reference to a movie. So I told them that I'm woke. I said, you have to stay woke, because if you don't stay woke, the body snatchers will get you. And they're like, I don't get it. They've never seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And
Oh.
I think the Donald Sutherland one with your co-star Veronica Cartwright, I think it would be a great movie for people who have the Twisted Dreams Film Festival and have never seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think it would be a perfect film for all of us to watch again.
And my friend Brooke Adams is in it.
Brooke Adams,
You want to
lovely.
make me watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Nothing
Someone
will make you.
No.
I said you want to.
I think
now-
it's a good movie.
Have
Then
you
you'll
seen
finally get the joke.
Have you seen the original, the first one with Kevin McCarthy?
Yes, that's very old. I want
It-
the Donald Sutherland version, though.
I know.
You can watch
Okay.
both.
I just recently watched the Kevin McCarthy one again and really liked it. And I wanted to watch the Donald Sutherland, but I didn't. Is it available? Can somebody type it in
I'm
and see
checking
Can you
it out.
see where it's available?
where it's
Streaming?
available?
Let me see.
I was
Um,
looking.
Because it may not be available. It's Philip Kaufman. Yeah, that's the movie that Sutherland was making when
Hulu
we were
Plus
shooting
or
Animal House.
Paramount Plus.
What?
Do you guys have Hulu Plus or Paramount Plus?
We've got Hulu Plus.
Now there's a Hulu Plus.
I think I might have Paramount Plus.
I have Paramount. I think my son has Paramount Plus, so I could watch it on that.
It's
And
on
it's on.
Fleet.
Did you say it's Hulu Plus or Hulu?
That's what it says.
It's
Hulu.
on
Oh.
Hold
Pluto
Actually,
TV. It's on Pluto TV for free. It's on Tubi for free.
Oh,
And,
okay.
so
but
there
you've
you go.
got to watch. You've got to watch.
that's not showing up
commercials
very
for
well,
both
is
of
it?
those, don't you?
We've got Pluto and Tubi. Yeah, they.
that
I don't know
sucks.
if they both do commercials,
But
but we
Well.
got Paramount Plus, I think.
what the subject of Billy Crudup? I don't know if you've seen the morning show on Apple TV,
No, I
but
haven't.
he plays a news executive. He's
yeah.
amazing in that. It's got Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell as like the disgraced. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's really well written, and Billy Crudup is great in it. If you have Apple TV, I highly recommend it. It's in season 2 right now. It's streaming.
Yeah, I got season 2, I think, on DVD because I got it for SAG Awards.
Well, you
and I haven't
should
watched
watch
it.
1 to kind of know how it all
Yeah.
came about. But he's got some great dialogue in there. This guy's an amazing actor. I became a real fan because he's very good at manipulating these two women, but he does it in such a way. It's so alpha. He is the man. I'm telling you,
jeez.
he's great in this. He
Yeah,
really is.
that's the problem I have with him in Big Fish too. Is that I know him, and I don't know him personally, but I know his work, and I really like his work. But he doesn't play. He plays victimizing better than he plays victimized.
Right. Well,
Uh,
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Molly, I missed what you said. Did you say you would not watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
No.
or you would?
I would watch it.
Okay, it's good. It's worth watching it. And as I was starting to say, that's the movie that Sutherland was making when John Landis, who directed Animal House, which was a movie that I was in, called him and said, Universal insists that I put a movie star in this movie. I don't want to. You've got to be my movie star. Please come up here for 2 days and make this scene play the what's his name? The professor that
The
he played.
professor, yeah.
Yeah. What's his name?
I can't remember. Professor.
And I just took it
Can you look
down.
him up? You know what I
What?
liked about him is when they were smoking weed, and he said, well, this is just something I could do while I'm working on my novel. When you're talking
Right.
about novels,
I
and he
know.
goes, how long have you been working on it? He goes, 4.5 years. He said, it must be pretty good. He said, it's a piece of
Piece of
shit.
shit. Right. And it
Well,
just
it's like
keeps
the
getting worse.
poet in this movie that was working on a poem for what, 12 years.
Right.
Oh, Steve
Ro-
Buscemi.
Yeah, roses are red,
Right. Right.
sky is blue.
Yeah, he steps into a bank robbery. That was crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of really wacky stuff in this. All right, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 2 weeks, right?
I'm gonna watch both of them just so we can
Okay,
discuss
good.
both.
I
Let's do
think
that. Let's watch both.
Let's
Yeah.
watch both.
watch.
Let's
Okay,
do it.
watch them both. I may not go back and watch the. I don't know if I have.
Yeah,
time
you
to
just
watch
saw
it.
it. You're good.
What?
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
you
just
can,
saw it.
it'll be
So
fresh in your mind.
good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All
All right. Great. Perfect.